Hey, welcome into Foxborough Rush. If you love this show, make sure you check out Hold My Banner, available on Nessun as well. We get you ready for the Celtics playoff run. That's right, Banner 19, trying to raise it up. Check us out. Hold My Banner is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get all your podcasts.
What's up? What's happening? George Balekji here with Travis Thomas.
Yeah.
Take it easy, man.
I can't. We're getting closer to draft. I'm fired up, brother.
Because you're finally done talking about offensive linemen.
Are we, though?
No.
I didn't think so.
But in today's show, we'll talk wide receivers and edge rushers.
Thank God.
I got you, my guy. So we're going to be talking some of the players that have made their top 30 visits, either with the Patriots or have them scheduled. Some depth receivers in line. A lot of first-round edge rushers set up to visit the team, including Abdul Carter, of course. We'll be talking about that. Mike Vrabel establishing the culture in New England as well. And Garrett Bradbury speaking to the media too. New center for the Patriots. We'll have plenty of that going on. T, my man.
My man.
Mock Draft 4.0 was fun. We put it out. I just want to talk about that.
Yeah.
A lot of people going, man, this is unrealistic. And I said it on the mock. The trade we got, that trade back from 4 to 17. So swapping first with the Bengals, getting their current second and third, next year's first, and Orlando Brown Jr.
Yes.
Let's have fun every once in a while, guys. Yeah. And I'm all about taking it serious. I could be the one that's too much of a hard-on when it comes to this. He's not going to be there at 38.
Yes, right.
So you can't draft him because he's going to go 34th. Relax, George.
Yeah, I agree. Also, for the people that say it's not realistic what you guys did, it totally is from this standpoint. Yeah. I thought in your mock draft, you and Ethan absolutely fleeced the Bengals, okay?
Yeah, it's not like the smartest franchise.
This is very realistic. Teams get fleeced all the time, especially ones that are not well run. So I thought it was realistic, and good for you for having fun with this stuff, GB. That's what it is. It's fun.
Every once in a while I can. Every once in a while. And then also the people are like, what are we doing with Tyler Warren? Who's the best weapon on this offense, man?
Yeah.
That's a red zone nightmare. Short yardage nightmare.
Playmaker.
Great run blocker, too, to help out a putrid offensive line.
Yes.
All right, let's get into it. So, and that's also someone that bring culture. Okay, now let's get into it.
Also, too, George, great history of great tight ends around here. Am I wrong? I mean, Gronk, the greatest to ever do it, in my opinion. He is the GOAT.
And I don't want to compare anyone to the greatest to ever do it, but yes.
Yes.
If anything, I watch him. He's a Gronk light. He's a Tony Gonzalez in the red zone.
I'll take that.
But a better blocker. Yeah.
Right?
Awesome. Sounds good. We got nobody.
Now, with that being said, he's not going to be there at 17. But whatever.
You never know.
Whatever.
Colts at 14 makes sense. Past that, I'm not too sure, honestly.
Yeah.
Could see him going top 10. Maybe. Saints at 9? No. All right.
Let's see what we're doing? But this is fun. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I like doing.
Come on, people.
We also got a little mailbag later on in the show, too. But let's start with this. Mike Vrabel, establishing the culture. What I love about this video before we play it, Trav, there's Spanish subtitles.
Okay.
The whole time I'm wondering, where did this come from? But it is Mike Vrabel, first team meeting, addressing the guys. Sounds like day 1 or 2 of everyone getting to the facilities. What I'm thinking here is because Robert Kraft is very conscientious with what he does with international marketing. The Patriots are massive in Germany.
Right.
So I'm thinking they invited a camera crew with maybe like NFL Espanol, maybe NFL Europe, maybe NFL Mexico, whatever it may be. They're doing a little Hard Knocks-ish series that will air, and it's shot mainly for a Spanish-speaking audience getting into the NFL. Smart on Robert Kraft. Someone leaked it because the Spanish subtitles throw me off. I cannot say it enough how much they throw me off.
Right.
Because it went away all of a sudden. Like, no one's claiming it. Someone put it out, but it was cool to see. Check it out right here.
That I have, that I would ask us to try to abide by. One is to respect the team. Respect the football team and the people that are here. The second one is, I'd like you to have, when we're in a meeting, I know what the style may be. Just pull your hood down in a meeting. That's all I ask. I just ask that when we're in a meeting, that we just pull our hoods down and we go from there. Be on time. We just talked about time. Be on time. And if I can't be on time, Christian, what's the easiest thing to do? You would just call, right? That's called communicate. All you got to do is say, hey, something came up. I'm going to be a little bit late. Now, after about 4 or 5 times, that starts wearing off, This is just a once in a while. All it is a respect thing, And the cell phones, We all got cell phones, Most of you have more than one, as a matter of fact. Just leave the cell phone in your bag, but just put the phone away, Okay, and if it rings, don't start coughing. Like, I've been in this league for 25 years. We all know when a cell phone goes off. We don't need to start coughing and doing that shit. We'll just turn it on and put it on silent, and we'll move on. Leave it in your bag. The cell phone's in the weight room. Okay, leave it on the counter or leave it in your locker. Okay, you don't need to do a set and then check your cell phone. Do a set and check your cell phone. Just leave the cell phones out of the locker room. Okay, and what my goal was, that I told everybody in the building, and I told Mr. Kraft, I told the coaches, it was to build a program that you guys and the coaches and the staff wanted to be a part of, that they wanted to protect. When you care about something, do you protect it? Yep. And that you were proud of it. That I'm proud to be a New England Patriot. I'm proud of the way that we do things. I'm proud of the way we prepare. I'm proud of the way we practice. Okay? And I'm proud of my teammates for the effort in which they play. So that was my goal, okay, to get started. And then you're gonna eventually believe in that and then start to trust it. The goals for our program, the overriding goals for that program that we're gonna build is gonna be, one, to win the division. Okay, when was the last time the New England Patriots won the division? Does anybody know? 2019, right? And we have one player, Joe Cardona, that's one person. So we're building our own identity. We're building our own team. We're building our own program. There's going to be things within that are different. There's going to be things within that are the same. Okay? And it's all going to be based on how do we make you guys, okay, as good as you possibly can be as an individual, as a player, and then as a teammate. That's going to be our whole goal. And you have to start understanding that of why we're doing what we're doing. The training staff, the equipment staff, the kitchen staff, these people are all here to do what? What are they here to do? To help you. They're here to help you do your job. They aren't here to be your valet, to be your housekeeper, to be your maid, to be your butler. You get where I'm going? Okay, we're going to treat those people with the utmost respect. Okay, if you got a problem, you can cuss me out. I'm a big boy. I promise you, we can handle it. But we're going to treat those people with a hell of a lot of respect. Just so we're all on the same page. Like, that's important to me. That's important to our owner. That's important to me. That's important to everybody here, is how you treat people in this building.
Hey, man, that's him coming in. I love he addressed Joe Cardona's the last one left from when the Patriots won the division. And he basically says, look, game day roster, out of the 53 guys that are going to be dressed to play and playing on game day, 52 were not here the last time the Patriots won the division.
Wow.
And that says that, like, there isn't going to be the guy to look, oh, Patriot, wait, no. It's how you establish it now. In a way, it's like it's on us message to get back to winning a division. Yeah. And everything he lays out, it's from day one. Get on time. Sounds like Christian. Maybe it's Christian Barmore. I have to relook at the roster if there's another Christian on the Patriots. But, hey, when you're late, what do? Christian Barmore? Call. Mm-hmm. But, that only works so much. Mm-hmm. And even at the end, it's the small things like being on time to a meeting, not wearing their hood in meetings, having the phones away.
Yep.
Right? No distractions. And to me, it's the big things, too, of how you establish respect. And what he lays out is, your trainer isn't your valet. Hey, can you pull up my car? It's cold outside, or go start my car. It's like, no, everyone here you treat with respect, and it means a lot to the head coach. You see him preaching it to the players.
Well, listen, you said you don't have the veterans around to teach the Patriot way, so to speak, because he brought in all these new players.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, Mike Vrabel is the Patriot way.
Yeah.
And he is laying that out. He knows what that means. He knows the no days off. He knows all the slogans, right? So he's teaching that. And then as far as those veteran players, and I know we're going to talk about them, but he brought in guys who knows his Bible, right? They sort of march to the Mike Vrabel gospel. So when you combine his Patriot way with the players that trust him and who have had success under him as a coach before, now you marry those two things, and you have what we hope, anyways, is a culture and an identity, because you didn't have those things last year. Now, I will say this, George. I would never say I was a bad kid, because I wasn't, but I will own and admit I was not the best student growing up. Okay, from elementary all through high school, I was class clown. I never really took school that serious. I just had a good enough. I know. I just had a good enough GPA to where I could stay eligible for sports, and that was it. When I got to college, the light bulb went off. But I say all that to say, I get the vibes from Mike Vrabel because it's happened to me several times in my life, so I could speak to this. It's like a new principal or a new teacher comes in from the year before. The year before, you could have been a train wreck. You were getting away with anything you wanted to do. You were skipping class. You were disruptive. You were doing it all, and you got away with it. Well, now it's a new sheriff in town, whether that's a principal or a teacher. Those were those vibes. I have sat before and heard speeches like this from someone and thought, yeah, I can't get away with the same stuff this year that I did.
Exactly.
That's what that was giving, and that was the exact point. And oh, by the way, that was a tame, calm, cool, collected, kinder, gentler Mike Vrabel. Just imagine, okay, if these guys start bleeping around or they're on a 3-game losing skid or whatever. I think one of the lines he said there that sort of went under the radar that my ears perked up, being a troublemaker that I am, was when he said, hey, we're going to treat everyone in this building that works for the organization to a certain standard, very high standard. That's important to me and the owner. But, if you want to get into some ignorant stuff, you could cuss me out. What that tells me is, he will be cussing you out, okay? So if you get into a heated exchange or whatever, he'll take that. So this guy, Vrabel's just a leader, and that's what that was. I mean, again, that was light work. That wasn't some heartfelt pump-up speech. That was letting people know what it is. He's setting the table for you. This guy's a leader. Yeah. We knew that, when it was rumored. And obviously, Kraft, we all know, Kraft should have hired him last season. So it's a season overdue, but nonetheless, he's here now, and I'm excited for it. He's a leader of men, George.
That's him getting in front of the room and going, here are the expectations.
That's right.
That's as simple as that. And you can't say you don't know because I laid it all out for you.
Exactly.
By the way, my dumb arse, Christian Barmore, Christian Ellis, Christian Gonzalez.
There's a lot of Christians.
So it could have been any of those 3 Christians.
A lot of Christians.
I know Gonzalez is Gonzo. It's not like I know him that I call him Gonzo.
Facts.
You just blank out on players' names sometimes.
By the way, it was Christian Barmore. You know it was. That's who he was talking to.
Probably.
You know it was.
Maybe Christian Ellis, when you're a specials teamer, you got that edge to you. Like, I'm not even supposed to be on this roster, even though he got that extension.
That's right.
And what he lays out, too, is just going through everything, and it's getting those minute details right. Show up on time. He's not doing some Tom Coughlin stuff of if you're 5 minutes early, you're late, and you're going to get fined. But that is, like, you always hear those head coaches, no hoods in meetings. It's a respect thing.
That's right.
The cell phones, put them away. Mm-hmm. If they go off, just silence it. It's just getting these day one things in line.
He did say in the gym, too, like...
Put them away. Put them on the counter.
Can I ask you something? Because you're a meathead.
Yeah.
When I work out in between sets, I love hopping on my phone for a quick while I'm resting and then put it back down and do my set. Do you do that? Or are you like a no phone at the gym guy?
I mean, my phone's my music, so have my phone.
Yeah.
And I text in between, but... I don't like to go scrolling because then it's like I look up 2 minutes have passed.
Well, how long's your rest?
I go 45 seconds. Oh, all right. That's 60
the
seconds.
I rest a couple minutes.
Yeah, no. All right. Come on, man. I got to be efficient with my time. And it's also I like to control my breathing in between, gets me locked in.
Okay, all right. So we have different in between sets.
I'm not judging anyway anybody goes.
I think I would be in rough shape with no phone, but I take a longer rest than you. That's why. 45 seconds, it's not worth it.
I'm breathing, supersetting. All right. This isn't a meathead pod.
We could do that, clearly.
I would do that all day, man. I would do that all damn day. Just have my ground turkey and sweet potatoes, That's lunch every day, last 5 years.
Every single day. I see it.
7 to 8 ounces. All right, I'm done.
We see it.
But what you get is that is established in a way. When you're in the weight room, you're working, right?
Yeah.
Don't be on your phones. They got the music playing.
That's right.
When you're in the meetings, you're working. Put your phones away. Don't got to be taking notes on your phones.
Right.
Notebook, if you got a tablet, something like that.
Yeah.
It's establishing those things of limiting distractions. And a big thing, too, on how he preaches for his coaches, which jumps out to me, is that he talks about he doesn't want his coaches in there all day, all night. Mm-hmm. It's not healthy. They're going to be burnout. Well, all right. If you want your coaches to not be there all day, all night, they got to be efficient coaching their guys. Yeah. You need the players to be the ones that are absorbing everything and being locked in.
Yeah.
And the same thing I think a lot too at the end. he points out the people working in the cafeteria, the trainers, anyone in the facilities. You treat them with respect. Mike Vrabel spoke about it when he was introed. Like, there's going to be no entitlement in this building. And just because you're a player, and yes, you're getting paid a lot of money. Yes, you're one of a 1,000-ish people in the world that are doing what you're doing in the NFL. Yes, I get all that. But just because you're a player doesn't mean you're entitled to make someone else go get your car, make someone go pick up your dry cleaning, or do this or do that.
Yep.
The no entitlement thing is also that everyone's the same. You know, it's old sayings. Treat the CEO like you treat the custodian.
That's right.
That's what he's doing. How you treat Robert and Jonathan Kraft, that's how you're going to treat the people that are helping you out, get your treatment to get you ready to be on the field, which I think is important. It's just consistent messaging, Trav. You know, it's not anything where he says no entitlement, but then he goes, oh, by the way, you guys could use these people even though their job says this, you could do that. No, it's consistent. So you're never waking up every day and going, but what does Mike Vrabel want? Like, what is he expecting?
Yeah.
Where the messaging we've heard, I mean, there was a head coach saying the team's soft, and then it's like, well, the team isn't soft. You know? Consistent messaging establishes a culture, and that's why you bring them in.
Yeah, I think you have a great point. I was thinking about this with Vrabel, and I just jotted this down because it was kind of a scatterbrained thought. But schematically, you hope Mike Vrabel gives you sort of the best that Bill Belichick gave you, where there was no one better in the history of our league, quite frankly, of drawing up game plans, masterminding defenses, masterminding game plans, playing to your strength, sort of, I don't want to say trickeration, but almost chess matching the other coach and doing those type of things. He brings you, in theory, that side of Belichick because we've seen Vrabel in a similar role against Belichick, even when he was with the Titans. But we know he's learned a lot and taken a lot from that in terms of DNA of Bill Belichick. And then you bring his own aura, swag, toughness, credibility as a player, credibility as a coach. You know, Mike Vrabel kind of has his own brand too. So he brings that. Then, here's the best part. Now that he had the Titans experience, so you get the best of Belichick schematically, that Vrabel-Belichick mind's similar. Vrabel has his own brand, his own thing going, so you get that individuality. But the best part, the icing on the cake, in my opinion, is the landmines. Now he knows the landmines to watch out for. He learned from Tennessee. He talks about, relationships and different things he took from the Tennessee job that he can implement here with the Patriots now. He's played for this franchise, so he innately knows some of the landmines to watch out for within the organization with the Kraft family. I just think this is going to work. And I know I don't want to make a big thing. Like, this is just, as we said, this isn't some, like, Rudy speech. But at the end of the day, even him just setting the table for these guys tells you he's in control.
Yeah.
And this team, we always say this, it's so cliche, but it is true, George, and you know it. We've been covering football long enough. As cliche as it is, these teams in all the sports ultimately take on the personality and the identity of their head coach and the likeness of their head coach.
Yeah.
This team should be detailed, buttoned up, grown-ups, ready to go, professional, and they're not going to make a ton of mistakes. They're not going to beat themselves week in, week out. I'm not saying they're going to be perfect, but clearly they're going to be way more prepared than they were, not only last season, but even at the end of Belichick. It's funny. I talk about the landmines to watch out for, and Vrabel should have an idea, right, George?
Yeah.
One of the things at the end with Belichick was he was too rigid. He was incapable of change. He was incapable of sort of connecting with these players and the style in which the NFL had already moved to with the quarterback and the high-flying offenses and things of this nature and personnel. And now you look at Belichick in college, and he has to do those things in order to be successful.
Yoga on a beach.
Yeah, it's like it's right. So he's almost forcing it. With Vrabel, probably age difference, and just being around the block. But I think with Vrabel, that side of things feels more natural. He does not strike me as some rigid guy. I think he'll change with the times. It remains to be seen. But so far, I mean, the guy's batting 1,000. Honestly, from the introductory press conference up to the clip we just played that we just saw, he is batting 1,000, man.
Yeah, we have some quotes coming up from Garrett Bradbury and why he's batting 1,000, why you win those close games.
Yeah.
And it's also, you think about, like you point out to Belichick, it's also to the point at the end, he was tone deaf. And yeah, again, Mac Jones just wasn't wired to be a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Wasn't wired to deal with adversity and all that.
Yep.
But it also goes back to that thing of when your dream is doing one thing.
Yes.
When your dream is playing football and making it to the NFL, and you get there and you have a successful rookie season, and then all of a sudden, your second year, a guy gives you a defensive coordinator and a special teams coordinator as your QB coach and OC, and your offensive line coach. You have every right to be frustrated. Like, wait, hold on. I did everything I'm supposed to do to get to this point. I did everything I'm supposed to do to get drafted in the first round.
That's right.
I did everything I'm supposed to do to be a Pro Bowl alternate my rookie season. And then you're giving me this? Yeah. You know this doesn't work. Why are you doing this? Yeah. I understand why the frustration come from those players. And that's it, too. Defense was still buttoned up. With Alex Austin as a starting corner at the end of the season, they were still being a shutdown type unit. But it got to a point, too, where the whole locker room's looking around and going, how is this computing towards winning? Then you go last year. Pendulum swung too far to one side.
Too far, yes.
Gerard Mayo got one of the highest grades for head coaches because he was very much about the players.
He was too much about the players.
Kevin Stefanski got one of the lowest grades because he's not enough about the players.
That's right.
Kevin Stefanski is a top 10 play caller in the NFL. He's going to set you up for success when he's dealt the hand he's dealt. So that's the thing. So with Mike Vrabel, he's not tone deaf.
That's
he
right.
understands to adapt with the times. He understands to be more about, creating relationships and developing relationships that are meaningful with the players. That's what Terrell Williams, his defensive coordinator, taught him. That's why they were so tight in Tennessee. That's how he adapts with the times.
Let me ask you this. I know we got to move on, so I won't hold you long here. But I just wonder. We're singing his praises. We like everything we've seen. We love the hire. But how can this go wrong outside of injury? Outside of Drake May gets concussed or blows an Achilles, knock on wood. But like outside of major injuries, all things being equal, this team stays healthy. How can Vrabel mess this up? Because I'll tell you why I'm bringing this up. We haven't looked at, there's always two sides. There's always a flip side to the coin, as I say. So I try to be fair. And especially when I love on someone so much, I try to, like the Vrabel hire, going back to that. Now I'm trying to think, like, how can he mess this up? Because obviously, it's possible. The only thing that comes to mind for me is injuries. But if you take that out of it, do you see a scenario? Like, is Mike Vrabel – here's my question. Is Mike Vrabel too big to fail outside of injuries with the Patriots?
No, because he could fail if he doesn't get the personnel right. If he's going to call the shots.
So it's draft and free agency and it's the transactions.
Yeah. And that's building out this roster.
All right.
Like, everything's gone into all these resources. What are the big signings on offense? A 31-year-old wide receiver, slot, coming off a torn ACL.
Didn't love it.
A wide receiver 4 in Matt Collins, who I love. I love both those signings.
I don't love
Morgan
it.
Moses, a 34-year-old right tackle. I love the signing, but you got a leader in the room.
I don't love
All right,
it.
what are the big signings on defense? And a really good cornerback, too. That's a ball hawk.
Check.
A really good off-ball linebacker that's really smart and great in coverage.
Check.
A really good interior pass rusher in Milton Williams, on top of everything else they've done, too. Yeah. So you see all the money and the resources going towards the defensive side of the ball. And so, again, okay, you want to establish the culture. Why does Will Campbell make sense with the Patriots? Because that is a guy that wore number 7 for LSU. He wore the patch. He's an offensive lineman. Yeah. You want to establish a culture. But if you get too caught up in that culture,
right?
Maybe Armand Membu isn't that leader, but if he's a better left tackle, you better take him.
Sure.
You better take who is the best left tackle in your eyes. Not because someone's a leader and you like the way he talks. Because if he's such an outlier because of his wingspan and he fails as a left tackle, you're failing your quarterback. And then the same thing, if you go from there and you want to build within the trenches, that's fine. But if you have a really good wide receiver prospect that could be a day one contributor to the offense in the second round,
go get him.
You better not pass up on that.
Okay.
Or you go with an edge rusher that'll wreak havoc because there still are those needs. But it has to be offensive weapons and find a way to help.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you right, in a way,
the way he fails is he's a guy that calls the shots.
Almost machismo, right? Like it's almost like this is I want my guys, I want this kind of culture, I want this kind of grit, this kind of toughness. And you almost overdo it to where you don't have the skill and the speed and some of those things necessary that you need. I think that's fair by you.
You got to go with when it comes to the positions and it checks out with your scheme, the best available at that point.
I think that's
character matters. Obviously, it matters to him.
Sure.
Not hearing any character red flags about Kelvin Banks, Armand Membu. I'm not. Not hearing any character red flags about Mike Green, Donovan Ezra-Rockwoo.
No, you're right.
Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel.
Here's where I'd maybe push back, and it's not even really pushback.
Yeah.
It's I think that machismo stuff, that you almost overdo it trying to get these tough guys, dark alley guys. I'll walk down a dark alley with that dude. If you want a tough guy team, it's still going to take you a while to get to the point where the fans and we the media realize it's not enough here to win.
Yeah.
You can't just have all these tough guys. Right now, we would all around here love for next season and maybe even the season after to have a kick-ass team with a bunch of tough guys. Every time you play the Patriots, you know you're going to get a bloody nose. We can live with more losses than wins for now, but I think it would take them a while, even in your scenario, and thank you for answering my question because you nailed it. But even in that scenario, it would take a while for them to fail. Does that make sense, George? We'll take that tough, true grit type of team for a couple years, even if they underachieve. But then after a while, as a Drake May evolves and et cetera, you say, okay, this isn't working. So even in the scenario that it doesn't work with Mike Vrabel that we just laid out, it still works in the short term.
Why did Bill Belichick fail? He couldn't draft.
He couldn't
do free
adapt.
agency.
He couldn't adapt.
Why did Jim Harbaugh fail when he was in the NFL? He ran everyone into the ground. They wanted to kill him in that 49ers building. He rode him too hard. And it seems like Mike Vrabel's adapting to that.
Yeah,
Just think of those head coaches that are great and why do they fail?
That's right.
I'm
sorry to hijack it. It's fascinating to me.
I like that.
I like this guy Vrabel. I do.
Hey, make sure to stream the entire Sox season with the NESN 360 annual plan. Available at an all-new reduced price of just $20 a month paid annually. And for a limited time, get 4 free tickets to Fenway with your purchase. Visit NESN360.com to sign up today. I don't know why I laughed. You love that guy Vrabel. I love him as a hire too.
I might bet him for Coach of the Year. He's one of the favorites. I might bet him for Coach of the Year. I haven't made that bet. I haven't made any NFL bets yet. I might do that one.
As we talk... Yeah, could have. Ben Johnson would be juicy too.
Yeah.
Brian Dable, depending what happens there.
Well, yeah, I got to see what they're
Quinn,
mess.
Commanders.
Dan Quinn. Well,
Jim Harbaugh if he wins the division.
Harbaugh is a good one. I still think Vrabel's bar is lower than all those coaches you named. No one's expecting anything from the Patriots.
Yeah, his expectations are definitely lower.
Yeah, so if he wins 9 games, he's Coach of the Year. Yeah. It's really that simple.
Yeah. You got to win the division, or you get into the playoffs. You got to get into the play. You got if he gets into the playoffs. If he gets into the playoffs, he could. They
won 4 games, right?
Yeah.
If he gets them to 9, and maybe a wild card, yeah, bro.
Oh
yeah,
bro. That's it. All right. So Garrett Bradbury, Antonio Gibson spoke with the media, and Garrett Bradbury, that's a good one to hear from because he obviously has experience playing in a different system, but is brought in to be the guy that replaces David Andrews. Mm-hmm. He was asked about Doug Marrone. And he said he loves former players as coaches. This is Garrett Bradbury saying this, due to their different understanding and ability to avoid coach speak. Adds Marrone uses interactive teaching, which Bradbury also loves. You see the tweet on your screen there.
Yep.
That's a veteran center recognizing. And that's something where you get the buy-in from the players of, this guy's done it. He understands what goes into it to be a player that executes on Sundays. I will take that over someone that's can't get under center and take a snap, but has all these analytics that tells him how to coach, right? Like I picture Brandon Staley when I say that, compared to the guys that have done it. Now they're the coaches that haven't done it at a high level that are some of the best head coaches in the NFL right now, but at some point played at certain spots. But that's important what you want to hear, especially from a guy that's going to have to lead your offensive line at the center position.
Yep.
And in general, from an offensive line where you're going to need 5 guys seeing through the same eyes essentially and playing as one unit. You like to hear that they like what they're hearing from Doug Marrone.
Sure. I mean, we just talked about this with the head coach, but it obviously trickles down to Marrone and the rest of the staff. And it's so important. You have to be amenable to change. And that's what this quote tells me. Is like, I like the way it's not just coach speak. These guys sit down and it's interactive and they're, it's more of a one-on-one type vibe. That's changed. That's evolving. So look, I again, Marrone and the rest of them, it starts at the top. I think this entire coaching staff has been put together very meticulously and correctly, quite frankly. I think the difference between this coaching staff that the Patriots have now compared to last season is quite literally night and day. And I mean, last season was a train wreck. This season, you have a really well put together coaching staff. And if we see the results on the field, they will get their flowers accordingly, George.
Yeah.
They will, around the league, they will get that respect. Man, the Patriots coaching staff is one of the best in the league. I believe they're going to make that kind of leap.
I mean, the amount of red flags that are on this offensive line. Garrett Bradbury's been in the league for 8 years, replacing David Andrews, who's 9. Morgan Moses, 11 seasons, I believe. Wow. Mike Onwenu, drafted 2019, I want to say. Mm-hmm. So from center to the right side, a lot of experience. Could have Layden Robinson at left guard, second-year player. Could have Cole Strange at left guard. That would be 22, 23, 24, fourth-year player. And will most likely have a rookie at left tackle. So that's important, too. It's the experience you have in a Doug Marrone, the experience you have in front of your quarterback in a Garrett Bradbury, and the experience to his right, Mike Onwenu, 6 years, and then 11 years, Morgan Moses. And it goes back to Morgan Moses talking about, man, I sleep in hyperbaric chambers. I wake up at 5 a.m., workout. I'm there on time to get my treatment because that's a guy that consistently has played 1,000+ snaps through the league. Last year, I think he dipped below, but he was also playing through a sprained MCL for the New York Jets. Right. So that's a guy that's going to do whatever it takes to be on the field and show up on game days for his team. That's the leadership you need. And talking about Garrett Bradbury and what he's doing in front of the quarterback, this is also interesting that Bradbury said Drake May is expected to handle a lot of pre-snap communication. And this is what he said, quote, Drake's ready for that. They wouldn't put a lot on his plate if they didn't have belief in him. I think he's a really smart young player, and it will only help him grow. Yeah, he's smart.
Duh.
It will help him grow. And I'm going to go, yeah, he's ready for that. And it's not because of it's only Drake May.
Yeah.
I tell you all the time, man, I didn't want him to play because I was worried about his processing and his ability to read NFL defenses and make post-snap decisions.
Wow.
Pre-snap, though, and now he did that all post-snap. Like, I was so effing impressed. You were. When I would watch the all 22 after a game, and I'd watch him make a pass, rewind it, tap back, and then I would say, okay, where's that ball going? Mm-hmm. And then I'll watch the cornerback. The second the corner's hips made a decision, Drake May, the ball was about to leave his hand. He's reading a corner because he knows where those receivers are going to be. But you know who helps that with post-snap and helps that scheme is your offensive coordinator. You know who helps you make pre-snap decisions on how to read a defense? Josh McDaniels. And again, and this is what it comes to. You have a guy that's worked with Tom Brady, and I'm not saying Drake May is going to be Tom Brady. Different type of skill set. And Josh McDaniels has adapted. Matt Castle, Jacoby Brissett, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tom Brady, the quarterbacks that he had at other coaching stops and making them succeed when he wasn't given a lot of talent and all of that and more. Pre-snap, he's going to set Drake May up to success. And it's like the joke we make that Drake May should basically be bunking up with Josh McDaniels. Ingest of much of his knowledge as you can. Yeah. What's the old saying? That guy forgets more football than I'll learn in my lifetime. That's Josh McDaniels. Yeah. In the last minute, the amount of football he forgot is more than I'll ever know. And I'll admit that. And you know ball, dog. And that's a guy that will pour into his quarterback. And that's what's important. So it's exciting to hear. And you put that on his plate. That is, that's control over the offense. That is full on hands-on control over the offense. Listen, and that's what starts now with OTAs. Listen, as your boy, I'm going to check you here, okay? No, come on, do not. I am going to check you because I don't know that much. You're not giving yourself enough credit for one thing. You said I was very concerned coming in with Drake May's ability to read defenses and process information. You were concerned. I would not say you were that concerned with that. You actually were at the forefront of don't play him because of the pass pro or lack thereof. Yeah. You had more concerns about protecting Drake May and keeping Drake May upright than you did his processing. Once he played, you saw it instantly like, oh, okay, we're good on the processing and the footwork. I remember you used to bring up and the wide receivers. All those things, but those were minimal concerns for you. I'm not going to allow you to act like that was some big thing. You were more on protecting him, and they didn't do a great job of that. As far as the quote, look, this is a reality of the NFL for quarterbacks these days. The days of marinating are over, okay? It is baptism by fire, baby. Yeah. Get in there and learn it on the fly. Is it fair? No, but it is what it is. Jaden Daniels does it. C.J. Stroud did it. Guys have done it, so Drake May step up. It's your time. So this doesn't shock me at all. It's good to hear, and that they're just throwing more on his plate. It shows the confidence that they have in a guy like him. It's just a reality. Now talking about backup running back Antonio Gibson. What he's seen from Drake May. Quote, big difference from seeing him kind of sit back, watching things and learning to being vocal. He seems comfortable. He's being himself. Fun, goofy, smart, being a leader. That's what this guy is. And that's the thing, too, of he doesn't say much when he speaks on Wednesdays to the media. But when you listen to some of his messaging, I'm like, man, that is... And I said it. We spoke about it last episode. Mm-hmm. The reports that Drake May didn't like Joe Milton, wanted to be a starter, and his family not liking that, you know... He was drafted in the same draft as Drake May. It's not just his upbringing that gives me the confidence, but it's throughout the course of the season from week 6 on. Right. Everything that was happening in Drake May and everything he did exuded a natural-born leader.
Sure.
And in that same breath, it doesn't shock me when his dad played 2 years at UNC.
Right.
His older brother was a 3-year starter for UNC basketball. His other brother was a walk-on for UNC basketball. His other brother is a national championship winning pitcher for Florida. And again, when you grow up dealing with those guys and having to compete, learning from that dad, having to compete with those brothers, just playing basketball in the driveway, you're going to become a leader because you got to learn to be a mother effer. So that's what you want. He leads by example too. Shows up, works hard, and then what he does on the field, man.
Yeah, you
don't. I know what you're about to do.
You could go to the next quote with Gibby because listen, bro. Covered him. Covered Morgan Moses. What's that saying? When you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, right? I'll leave it at that.
Antonio Gibson says it's still early, but he'll do what he needs to do so the team knows he's an alignment, versatile player. Didn't get to show off his receiver background much last season, but that it will change under Josh McDaniels. That's a guy that was a wide receiver at Memphis, converted to running back, good pass catcher, and showed burst and showed a change of pace. Josh McDaniels with his Swiss Army knife like an Antonio Gibson. I do expect them to draft a running back in this upcoming draft. The skill set, we could talk about that another episode. Let's at least earmark that.
We could do that now.
No,
we don't need to talk about Gibby.
We'll talk receivers and stuff. I don't want to talk running backs yet. Travion Henderson would be a home run hitter and could be a running back that complements everything in this backfield. Guys like that.
Facts.
Junkins, same thing from Ohio State.
Hampton.
He'd be more of a price too rich. If you think of a Judkins from Ohio State, that's an Isaiah Pacheco-esque, where go get me 7 yards. Go get me 7 yards again.
Yeah.
Go get me 7. You're not going to get me 14. You're not going to get me 11.
Right.
Keep giving me 6 to 7. And that'd be a Junkins type. Really high IQ.
Excuse me. I don't know what's feeling under the weather.
But that's what you want to hear. And again, when they go into the draft, and my thing is they need to walk away with 3 weapons for their quarterback.
Agreed.
Weapons, not wide receivers, weapons.
Yeah, playmakers.
And it could be 2 wide receivers and a tight end.
Yep.
Wide receiver, tight end, running back.
Like
a wide receiver, 2 tight ends. It needs to be a wide receiver on the outside. But that's what, with Josh McDaniels, too, you get that understanding of, hey, we're going to get the most. And that's, again, the importance of coaching. We are going to get the most out of this running back. We're going to get the most out of each player on offense.
Sure.
All right. Say nothing at all.
Hey, Antonio Gibson. I was hoping maybe we had a different running back on the roster at this point in time.
Contracts.
Still here. Congratulations.
Contracts. I won't go GM George on you, but it would make sense with the contracts, my friend. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to check out Nesson's Daily Sports Podcast. Boston has entered the chat. We talk about all the trending sports, news, and culture in Boston and around the country. It's available on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, wherever else you get your podcast. Latest episode, Trav and I dive in deep into the Netflix series with the Red Sox and what that episode with Jarren Duran opening up with his mental health struggles meant to us and how it's so important. Check that one out. It was a great convo to have with my man T. That's Boston has entered the chat wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Trav. So there are top 30 visits going on.
Okay.
And the Patriots list is interesting.
All right.
So a guy on their list, a wide receiver, Jalen Noel out of Iowa State. I've told you all about him, right?
Yes.
If he gets drafted, I'm not big on buying jerseys because a player could get traded any moment. If he gets drafted, I'll get a Jalen Noel Iowa State jersey.
You're all in?
I'll do that.
All right.
Oh, dude, I love his game.
All right.
But on top of Jalen Noel, the wide receivers that are making top 30 visits, Kyle Williams out of Washington State. Mm-hmm. Here's a name, Keandre Lambert-Smith. Not on many people's radars. Watched him at Auburn, but I was like, is that a guy the Pats would be interested? We'll talk about him. On the edge, Abdul Carter, Nick Scorton, Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart. So I want to start with Keandre Lambert-Smith.
Okay.
6'1", 190 pounds, sub 440, ran a 4.37, 1.53 10-yard split, which is really good. That's 90th percentile in the 40, 74th percentile in the 10-yard split, 70th percentile in the broad. 5th-year wide receiver. Final season at Penn State, 53 catches, 673 yards, 4 touchdowns. His lone season at Auburn, 50 catches, 981 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Which there is money because they run the ball down your face.
19 yards plus a catch.
Yep.
I like Keandre Lambert-Smith as a developmental prospect. Really good straight line speed. He's consistent off the line of scrimmage, and he's a good deep ball tracker. When I say consistent off the line of scrimmage, it's his first step, it's his acceleration.
Yep.
And this is a guy that dealt with a lot of drops when he was at Penn State, cleaned that up where the percentage has died down in Auburn. But over the middle could be a body catcher. You got to have strong hands over the middle in the NFL. And he has a limited route tree where it's fly, digs, come back.
Right.
But again, this is a guy we could see 5th, 6th round. And this is a guy with his speed and what he is as a deep ball receiver. And that big body, 6'1". Every offense wants it. You need that wide receiver that is straight line speed, stretches a field, and keeps a secondary honest, especially with a good deep ball quarterback like Drake May.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can only take what the draft provides you. So I watched this kid at Auburn. I bet a lot of Auburn games. I don't particularly think that he jumped out to me there. Penn State either. I think he's just a guy. But if we're being honest, where you're talking about drafting him, it is good value, and I do understand it. And even though I give you a hard time for being GM George, because I look at the high end of guys like a McMillan or somebody, I do at least recognize, the value in which if you're taking this guy in the 4th, 5th, I don't think he gets a 6, but if you're taking him 3, 4, or 5, then I do understand it. Again, he just feels a lot like what you already have around here. It just. He doesn't do any one thing particularly well. The speed is good. The straight line speed, as you said, what are you running, 4.37?
Yep.
But he's not a burner.
No.
He's limited route tree wise. He's got decent hands. He just
in the 5th and 6th round, that's going to be the guys
that's
that you
what
develop
I'm saying.
them.
And you can only take what the draft provides you. But I would be fine if they took him. I just don't feel like I'm throwing any parties for it. I'm not popping champagne for it.
Low floor, high ceiling.
Yes.
He's noisy at the top of his routes with his release. It's a lot of like this, that, bro. When you're in the NFL, you got to make a move, head fake, foot in the ground, go. Yep. Wherever you want to do, change direction.
Yep.
If you break down every time and it would get noisy and you'd cut inside on a dig, that's fine. But when you have a tell like that and a corner can read your route as easily as that because of what you do at the top of your route to try to get separation, they're going to be jumping that route. They're going to be picking off the ball. And that's why no interceptions are the same.
Yep.
But DeAndre Lambert-Smith at pick, let's say 180, I would take that.
It's good value.
Because what the role would be and the project he would be, it's a Tyquan Thornton, but he's not pick 53.
Right.
He's pick 180.
Right.
Again, there was a tone-deaf GM running those drafts. Kyle Williams.
You like him?
Stephon Diggs-esque, and I'll explain that. 5'11", 190, 4'4", 40, 155, 10-yard split, all good numbers. Right. Started his career at UNLV, transferred to Washington State, was a COVID freshman, so had 5 years of eligibility. He's technically a true senior. He's a COVID senior. Final season with Washington State, 70 catches, almost 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4th in the nation in touchdown grabs.
Okay.
He reminds me of Stephon Diggs as far as his frame, his speed, his build, and their testing numbers in the combine were eerily similar as well. But he's not that savvy route runner like a Stephon Diggs is.
Right.
But he has a good release package, really quick feet. He is twitchy off the line of scrimmage. And his acceleration is smart because he knows how to stack defenders. Because he's a guy that his 3rd, 4th, 5th gear all seem similar, and that's what keeps a cornerback guessing. But when he hits his 6th, he could do it in a split second, so he doesn't give away his route by going slower. You know he's going to break in.
Right.
No, it's the same speed every time, right? And that's something that means a lot. I think this is a guy that's going to be around 3rd, 4th round pick. And the way he does remind me of Stephon Diggs, though, really smart against zone defenses, knows how to find the soft spot in coverage. And as much as he has been good down the field and he has the speed to be a burner beat on the slot, he also just knows when he's reading a defense, if he's matching up with the zone, coverage guy did that right in front of my face in my spot, foot in the ground, turn around to the quarterback, give him that easy target. That's what Stephon Diggs does now. And that is the advantage of signing a Stephon Diggs, because that's a vet that gets around to Kyle Williams and go, okay, you're me now.
Yeah, you can teach him.
Let me help you out to be me where I can get really good route running underneath.
I hope that's the case because I'm not impressed with Kyle Williams. I got to be honest. I mean, look, Lambert-Smith, in my mind, has a higher ceiling than this kid.
Kyle Williams much higher floor though, and that's what this offense does need.
He feels like depth. He feels like he doesn't move the needle for me. Now, you make a good point. If he's a Diggs clone or a poor man's Diggs, and you have Diggs now at this advanced age, that could be something there. Maybe he can help maximize whatever you do have with him. But again, none of these guys, I'm telling you, I just feel like you're essentially adding what you already have. How is he any more dynamic than anything that's already on the roster? I don't think he is.
Better deep down the field than a Jalen Polk. Better deep down the field than a Pop Douglas. And we'll talk Pop in a second. We have a mailbag one I want to get to.
I saw that mailbag about Pop.
No, I like
that
Pop.
one was at you.
Because
it was at you.
Well,
we'll get to it later.
Here's the thing with Kyle Williams. You'll see his alignment all the time. It's in the slot. And if he's the furthest wide receiver with his splits, it's still a tight formation where, in general, again, you're going to see him lining up where a slot would be.
Right.
But if he could be a down-the-field receiver, in a way, too, I call him a Stephon Diggs light. Mm-hmm. He is eerily similar to a Tyler Lockett the same way. Now, Jalen Noel is a more athletic, bigger Tyler Lockett.
Right.
But in the way of Tyler Lockett, you're going to see him in the slot, but could help down the field.
Yeah.
You don't have that speed from Jalen Polk. And the first two guys have speed. This wide receiver room doesn't have that. Maybe in Javon Baker, but he's still such a big project.
Right.
You have it in Pop Douglas, but it's short area quickness. It's not down the field.
It's not, right.
And that's what a Kyle Williams can give him.
Stretch the defense.
Jalen Noel, you guys know where I stand with him. 80 catches, almost 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns his senior season at Iowa State, playing with the Jaden Higgins.
You love his teammate more.
I love them both. Okay. I really do love them equally. I will not put one over the other.
I don't know, bro. You talked about Jaden Higgins.
They could draft both, and I would love it. I'm not joshing with you at all.
Okay.
But the edge, everyone knows Abdul Carter. Freak. He could be Michael Parsons. Nick Scorton, similar frame and build to a Keon White. More refined of a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Has a lot of counter moves, which is important. He's not that athletic freak. His first step isn't insane, but that's what you get. You get the guys like an Abdul Carter, who's an athletic freak, but he has a deep bag, so I'm not going to say that. The guys that can't rely on athleticism, like a Shamar Stewart, who does, they're more technically refined, like our boy Donovan Ezra-Rockwell. Michael Williams, 6'5", 260 out of Georgia, long wingspan, massive arms, knows how to get his hands on you first. Heavy hands to control blockers. He feels more like a 3-4 defensive end than a 4-2-5 wide 9 scheme. He'd be really good in the run defense. You could obviously refine him to be a better pass rusher. Then there's Shamar Stewart. Traits. 6'5", 270, 34+ inch arms, 91 percentile wingspan, 94 percentile 40, 99 percentile in broad and vertical jump. His speed to power is effortless. His arms are so long. And at 6'5", 270, he's so strong that he's in your face in a second because his first step is so elite. His hands are on you because he gets you so quick and he's already in your area and he can just push you off of him and he's going to beat you. Doesn't translate to sacks, but he gets to the quarterback and he creates pressures, and that's really important in football.
I'm going to go back to Jalen Noel for a second. 5'10", 195, fast as all get out. But Jaden Higgins, 6'4", 215, I'll take that big body.
Not as quick.
Not as quick.
In different areas to serve. Hey, Jaden Higgins, bigger, stronger. More athletic. Jacoby Myers. So definitely help. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to check out Hold My Banner. Every Wednesday and Friday, we got new episodes dropping. Everything NBA, everything Celtics, everything Hoops. Hosted by Travis Thomas and Ante Campbell. That is Hold My Banner, wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, here's from Deborah McClintock. 8157. Sorry, Deborah, if I butchered that. We have Pop at slot. Do you have a problem with Pop Douglas? Because we do not.
Facts.
Deborah, I don't have an issue with Pop.
Yeah, you do.
No, I do not. It sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. But he can't be that reliable slot where he is undersized. He is smaller than what you need to be a consistent contributor at the NFL level. And again, you get a slot in there. That Pop as a wide receiver 3, I would buy. And I'm talking a lot of 11 personnel. So imagine and this is coming off our mock, imagine 11 personnel. We have Tyler Warren at tight end. And then your 3 receivers when healthy. It can be someone on the outside, Stephon Diggs, and you have Pop Douglas. That's fine. It's going to be tight alignments and scheming him open.
Yeah.
But he's a kind of like a gadget type receiver. You want that consistent man beater, consistent chain mover. That's why I'm big on a Jalen Noel. That's why I'm big on a Xavier Restrepo. That's what they are. They're consistent winners in the NFL. And the floor needs to be raised in that receiving room.
Okay, well, Deborah, I'm with you. We do not have a problem with Pop. I love Pop. You just need more. You need more help. He's not a true number one. We've seen it.
No, he is not. If anyone says that, It goes back to, what is it, the Chargers game where Drake May's fighting for his life and heaves one deep down the field to Pop Douglas. He should not be doing that.
Right.
That's not his skill set. Short area quickness.
Right.
And that's where he can flourish. So when they're drafting some of these receivers that I say are slot, you could have multiple.
Yeah.
What is Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp? They're versatile. They're versatile with their alignments. They could both be lined up in the slot and kill a defense that's matching up with them.
Right.
That's why it's fine. Like, don't get caught up in all these slots. Don't get caught up in all these tight ends. Don't get caught up in having all these outside receivers. Mm-hmm. You need man beaters. You need guys that are smart and have high IQ and can beat defenses. This Patriots team doesn't have that, T. That's my thing.
Facts.
One more, Jacob Dover. The Patriots need to trade for Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals to help the Patriots pass rush.
I do it. I'm not giving up
With what?
the number 4th pick overall. I give up a second round, or maybe I'd consider next season something. I don't think I'm interested in a first round pick.
Next season, second, which would be a third.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up a first round for Trey
first
Hendrickson.
round.
His production's been through the roof. He's about to be 30. There's a drop off that happens with edge rushers.
He's a good player, though, George.
I would give up 4 for Myles Garrett. I'd give up 4 for Michael Parsons.
Yes.
Trey Hendrickson is just outside that zip code.
TJ Watt?
No, I would not. Same with getting up there in age.
So Watt and Hendrickson are kind of in the same class for you in terms of trade value.
There's like tier 1 is Garrett. There's tier 1.1. Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons. There's tier 1.2. That's TJ Watt. Then there's tier 2. That's a Trey Hendrickson.
Okay.
I'm splitting hairs.
That's fair. That's
and
fair.
it's also, think about what you have at 4.
Yeah.
If you trade back and get more picks, it's really hard drafting. Let's not act like if you have 7 picks, 1 in each round, you're going to keep building teams. You need to throw stuff at the wall.
That's fair.
Fun
I'm with
mailbag,
you.
quick mailbag. Shout out to you guys for commenting. Deborah, Jacob, love you guys. Appreciate you guys calling me out on my BS. T does it every day. He's
Yes,
Travis
I do.
Thomas. I'm George Balekji. This is Foxborough Rush. Have a great weekend, everyone. T, nice sweater, my guy.
My man.
See you guys.